If you've been following our story, you'll know that we are spending the Northern Hemisphere winter months in Kaş Harbour in Turkey. And whilst it's not as cold as some Northern European countries with snow and frost and ice, the temperatures at night time can drop quite a lot into the single digits. I think one morning we actually had it down to 0 degrees. And this causes a certain phenomenon to happen inside ABC. It's called condensation. And you might be thinking, condensation? That's nothing. Well, on a boat, it's quite a lot. Because what happens is, as we are either cooking our dinner at night or boiling a kettle to make tea or coffee, then of course we're getting condensation inside the boat. We've got the hatches all closed down because we're trying to stay warm inside the boat. And to be fair, it's been pretty rainy, consistently rainy over the winter here in Kaş. Today, of course, is the exception. So what happens is we are locked inside this plastic capsule with condensation being created from cooking and so on, but also, more importantly, condensation coming out of our mouths. And what happens is, over time, this condensation builds up, mainly on the aluminium frames around the hatches and on the perspex of the hatches, but also it builds up onto the underside of the deck that I'm sitting on. And then eventually it gets so wet that gravity takes over and the drops of condensation start dripping. And many is the morning that I've been rudely awakened by drops of condensated water dripping down onto my forehead and onto my pillow around me. So this is just another one of those little challenges that you have to work with when you live on a boat. But I do believe that summer is coming, and so this problem will soon pass.
Just like the wild lions of the African deserts, these tame Leos also like to doze in the midday sun. Here's one that we've got, but don't say anything, we don't want to wake it up.
Are you awake now, are you?
I am.
Okay. Dozing in the midday sun.
It's really nice. It's the first sunshine we've had for ages, and I thought she's got to come up on deck and get some fresh air. It's
Meanwhile, I'm slaving away down below. Slaving, I tell you.
About time, you never do anything.
Slaving. Hunched over a hot hard drive. We've been told that just 2.5 kilometres walk east of Kaş, there is a place called Big Pebble Beach. And apparently it's quite nice, and it's a nice easy walk. So today, being Sunday afternoon, nothing much else to do better, we're gonna take the walk and see what we see when we get there. Also got the drone with me, so hopefully we can get some nice drone shots. Apparently that's where we're going. It's only 500 metres. It's quite a short walk. This time of the year, obviously mid-December, it's definitely off-season, but apparently in summertime this place is chock-a-block. You really have to come early if you want to get a spot on the beach to sit and enjoy the water and the sunshine. And a lot of the bars here around the edge, around the perimeter, they all offer you free use of their showers, toilets, Wi-Fi and sunbeds, as long as you eat and drink at their restaurant. And if you really want to be pampered on the beach, they will actually bring whatever you want to where you're sitting, so you can have your food and your drinks brought to you wherever you're sitting on one of their sunbeds. I'm sure it's a fabulous place when it's buzzing with activity, but right now it's just quiet and sleepy. It's kind of the way I like things. It's Wednesday morning and I'm on the outside wall of Cash Harbour, and you can see behind me there are two big freighters that have come into the bay here for protection from the wind. So that's always a sign that things are going to get a little bit hairy. An interesting little visual as to the forces that were at work when the last storm came in. These here steel beams that support the decks outside of the restaurants on the seafront here, these were all straight line solid steel beams, and this is what they look like now. I think the lesson here is don't mess with Mother Nature, and certainly don't mess with the sea or the ocean, because it will always win. The weather forecast has changed as we've got closer to the predicted gusts of wind that are going to come through. So now we're looking at slightly lower wind gusts around about the 40 to 45 kilometer range, but stretching over a longer period of time. So Wednesday night, Thursday all day, and then into Friday morning. And these are the fun things that you've got to think about on a daily basis when you live on a boat, even when you're moored in a harbour such as here at Cash in Turkey. Getting an overview of the whole situation from the entrance of Cash Harbour here, we can see that due east is pretty much over the top of that hill there, which is where the majority of the wind is going to come from Wednesday night. And then as we move into Thursday morning, where the wind is really going to pick up, it's going to swing to the southeast, which again is fairly well protected. And both of those angles, if the wind stays coming from those angles, won't allow enough fetch for big waves to come sweeping into the harbour. At least that's the theory. We will prepare anyway. We don't need to move. I did speak to the harbour master earlier this morning. We are prepping our storm lines, and there's a few things I want to do. Yesterday when we had a bit of big wind, I noticed that the bow was moving quite a lot, and that tells me there's a lot more tension that we can put on the lazy line to just keep the bow in a better position. We're also going to swap out a couple of lines at the back, and we're going to put a couple of midship lines on too. So come up forward and I'll show you what we're going to do up here. So this here is our lazy line or slime line, and that's tied to a great big ship's chain in the middle of the harbour that runs up and down the middle of the harbour. This is quite elastic, and we know from what we saw yesterday that this can be tightened up a bit more. So Ansha of the incredible knot tying skills department is going to put a slip knot of some sort on here.
We're going to call the slip knot a rolling hitch for the purposes of this exercise.
And then we're going to run the line back to a winch in the cockpit, so we can really use the mechanical function of the winch to get this wound tighter, and then once we've got it pulled up we can tie it off on the cleat and hopefully get a better stabilization at the bow. Our current stern lines, in particular this starboard line, is looking a bit frayed, and I don't want to take the chance that that's going to break on us when the big wind comes in, so we're swapping that one out. In fact, we're swapping both of the white lines out. Also, the way that they're attached to the quayside at the moment leaves them open to more chafing because of the way they're attached. So we're actually going to put bowlines on the end of the lines and then run that through the rings on the quayside, and that will just make them sit in one position, and there's no chance for them to be chafed backwards and forwards. That's already moving us away from that gullet, and once we move the bow a bit tighter, we'll be further away from that gullet, because I mean, there's no damage happening, but at night time when the fenders are squeaking, it's just annoying. So I'm just going to tie this one up for now, and we'll come back to that and all the others once we've got everything lined up and make sure they're all good and strong. So now the midship line. we'll send the intrepid explorer Ansha across the...
Captain.
We'll send the intrepid explorer Ansha across the Passerelle of Doom with the midship line, and I'll stay on board doing the easy stuff. As always, you know, I'm the captain. I get all the easy jobs. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to rinse and repeat on the starboard side. All right, that's all of our lines prepared as best as we can for when the wind starts howling in from the east on Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Well, the storm that we prepped for really never came to much. We did get a bit rocky and rolly here in the harbour, but because the wind was generally out of the east, it wasn't too bad. I can actually hear the waves crashing on the outer seawall right now. I think we got off fairly lightly. I believe that a couple of days ago in Antalya, a cyclone passed through there and ripped it up real bad. I think 2 people were dead, 1's missing, and 11 people were injured. So that's just a little way down the coast. It's now Saturday. This is not fog here. This is just dust that's suspended in the air. Some people are saying it's coming from Libya. We don't know. Can't find out any information on that. But yeah, just having a look around here, you can see how hazy the mountains look. Normally they're very clear. And if we look on deck here at the hatches, you can see how much dust has fallen out of the sky. So I've been whinging on recently about all the rain that's been falling from the sky. Now we've got dust falling from the sky. And what I'm praying for is for more rain to fall from the sky so it washes the boat. I'm never happy, never.
Next time on Sailing ABC, we visit the Eternal Flame at Olympus in Turkey. We'd like to say a special thanks to our executive producer, Jim Furness, and our other founding patrons, Alan Bates, Frank and Anne Bowles, Denise Smith, Joe Wood, Monique Galloway, Andrew Rutledge, and Francis Maguire. If you'd like to know how you can get involved with Patreon, click the link at the end of this video. Remember to leave a comment too, because we love chatting with you.